Welcome back to the
Mhm.
Restaurant Technology Guys podcast. I am actually very excited because this guy I've known for a while now. I was actually a fan of his on social media, and then eventually we got a chance to meet. But Emil, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience for those that don't know who you are? I want to talk more at the beginning about who you are, a little bit of your background, because I think it's really fun to talk through those things, and then we can talk through a little bit about what you get to do for a living.
Yeah, I mean, listen, thank you so much for having me and thank you for joining our pod as well. It was so awesome to have you there. And I was telling you that we started ours inspired by yours and thank you for letting us emulate you guys and emulate you and what you're doing and everything you guys do for the industry. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
My name is Nabeel. Yeah, my name is Nabeel Alamgir, CEO and co-founder of Lunchbox. We are a 5-year-old company. We do all things off-premise. We do online ordering, your first party online ordering. We do your catering. We will build your app so it looks like the Chipotle app or the Sweet Green app, except you don't have to spend millions of dollars. We will do your order aggregation and take all your third party orders and put it into your POS. And we'll do everything else in between. Everything off premise, everything outside the four walls, we want to do. Everything within the four walls, we want CVS to do. So that's the best way to look at Lunchbox. And yeah, very grateful to be here.
Awesome. Well, and for those that haven't checked out Bill's podcast, he's had some more prominent guests than myself on the show for sure. So
Nice.
it's certainly fun to listen to his show. And but talk to me a little bit about the background, because the company's only been around for 5 years, and quite frankly, when you guys first started coming out, I was like, who the heck is this guy? And you're very active on social, so I'm like, he's posting all the time. He's got this lunchbox thing. It's kind of I don't want to say before. I mean, you guys really have set out to go there. So talk to me a little bit about
Mhm.
where. Give me a little bit about Nabeel. Like, where do you come from? How did restaurant tech and off prem even become something that you were interested in? Because
Yeah.
it's fun. I always love the founders that have scratched an itch that they've struggled with, or they see as a problem, or they see as a true opportunity. And I am inspired by some of the stuff that you've already done. And then I'm a huge fan, and we'll talk a little bit
Yeah.
about where Lunchbox is at and how it's grown in the last 5 years. But to give me a little bit of
Yeah.
background, because I do think it's amazing when our listeners can hear where your background, kind
Mhm.
of the mentality and how you got into restaurants and the things that you had done throughout your career, starting at a
Yeah.
very young age.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar story, right? Like, there's a thing called history doesn't repeat itself; it rhymes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, your story on how you were the first support person over there,
Yep.
picking up the phone call, it happened accidentally, as it happened for you. It happened very accidentally, and similarly for me, the way I was introduced to hospitality and restaurants. I'm an immigrant. I came from Kuwait and Bangladesh, not countries where there's a lot of opportunities like we have here in America, right? And so, I came here. I came here to Queens, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, like the incredible place for immigrants to come. The most diverse borough in the entire country. More languages spoken here than anywhere else in the world. So when you come here, everyone is not from here, and that's how you all come together. That's how New Yorkers or people from Queens come together. So I came here. I'm learning English. I'm learning English watching mafia movies. I use my hands a lot. I think I'm American Italian. I'm not. I'm watching Godfather, Scarface. Should not be watching these movies, but I'm learning English and I'm loving it, and I'm finding my voice. And where I found my voice was at 17. I got a job as a busboy at a burger joint
Mm-hmm.
that my teacher's brother started. So I got a job as a busboy, and I'm cleaning tables. And it's an easy job. You don't have to speak a lot of English, and you get to learn hospitality. You get to see appreciation when you clean the table. You get to use some English because they think you might be the server. Can I get this? Can I get that? And you get to practice some English. And yeah, I that's my introduction to hospitality. And 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 I was at that same company from 17 to 27, a decade. And no one does anything for a decade anymore, especially folks like my age. But
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, and we grew it to a 50-unit chain. And we started Lunchbox because similarly we saw another problem. Like, hey, like how can we build a better ecosystem? So it all happened accidentally.
I love that. I love that story. And at some point, we'll have to get into the Kuwait story, because I got the privilege to go there actually 11 years ago. And that was an experience in and of itself, being a born and bred American going to the Middle East for the first time, and even just kind of some of the stories. But let's dig into. So Lunchbox started with a vision, really, and that vision. I'd love for you to share with our audience a little bit. What is that vision that you said? You know what? You alluded to it just now. You look at it and go, I really want to get to a place where off-prem can be done better than people have done it in the past. So talk to me a little bit about how and why you thought that was such a problem to be solved, because there's others that have done it. And
Yeah.
I would say, you were joking at the beginning about emulating the RTG podcast, with your own podcast, but you guys looked at it and said, you know what, this is something that we can truly make a dent in the world by doing off-premise a
Yeah.
different way. Why?
Yeah. Here's the folks we saw and used and thought did it really well, right? We thought Olo was doing parts of it really, really well.
Yep.
We thought they were doing auto aggregation well and web well, and we thought that was awesome. And then we looked at Level Up. They were doing apps really well. They were building apps for Sweetgreen. And Sweetgreen CEO is an investor of ours, and we were asking him, how do you like it? And there was amazing stuff there. We saw other agencies like Koala come in and make it all look amazing, right?
Yep.
And we just saw all these different components and were inspired by them. And we said, that is not affordable for a lot of restaurants
Yep.
to bring all of these folks together. And can we be a company that is a second mover here, right? Facebook was a second mover to MySpace. And, a lot of second movers win. And
Yep.
they win because, can they really go deliver on what first movers have built? So we sit on the shoulders of giants. We sit on the shoulders of companies that have done an incredible thing. And we want to see if we can do a couple of things. One, consolidate it. Number two, look at it from the problems for, 2023 and beyond, right? And three, give restaurants the option to say, turn my catering on, I want to test it out, or turn it off, and for it not to be a big multi-year investment and multi-year contract. We just wanted to bring that flexibility to the sub 1,000 unit chains, because we think those people don't have 200 engineers in-house. And that makes sense. We want to work with them and build something for them. That was our vision. And our vision also, like more than anything else, if we zoom out, was to be a company built by restaurateurs for restaurateurs. A lot of these companies are built by technologists. I don't know how to write a single line of code. I look like it because I'm Bengali, but I actually don't know how to write it. And all I know is, hey, this doesn't make sense, or this pricing doesn't make sense, or our operator would never pay this, or our operator needs to experiment. And so the company's filled with characters like that, like Chrissy, our VP of partnership, and Earl, who was the founder of Monkey Media, and these incredible people who are like, we're restaurant people pretending to be tech people, but the multiples are much better.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I mean, I'd love to double click a little bit on that, because one of the things that we were talking about pre-show is the hospitality industry. You're in the hospitality industry. You need to be hospitable. And a lot of these tech companies, including, sometimes my own and sometimes some of the other players that are in the space, forget that they're in the hospitality industry. They have to deal with people. Yeah. They have to engage. And so the way you guys go to market is very different than some of the other tech providers, which I think allows the opportunity for you guys to get into different places, because you guys are telling real stories about how you guys are solving real problems in a hospitable way. Talk to me about that culture building, because I also know that not only are you the founder and CEO, but I know from what you do publicly and even privately that your main role is to build the culture within the organization that says, this is who we are and this is what we do.
I mean, before I touch on that, like, I can call you anytime and you'll pick up anytime.
Absolutely.
And I know your customers call you all the time directly.
Absolutely.
And, like, when I first got introduced to you guys, and it was such an honor, your dad and I were on a phone call, and I'm like, why is the CEO of CBS on a phone call with me right now? Like, he's like, call me. I emailed him. He said, call me. And we jumped on a call, and we talked about his trip to Egypt. And after the call, he sent me a list of his itinerary and the travel agency, and where to go and what to do, what not to do. That's hospitality.
Yep.
So to hear those stories and to watch companies like yours, we're learning from it, and we're like, okay, how can we bring it to a young, brash, sometimes unreasonable company and still bring all the elements of just great hospitality? Because great hospitality, you cannot hack it. It's slow cooking. It's slow roasting. It's doing the work. It's picking up the phone. And so, as I'm trying to build our culture, I have the honor of picking and choosing from what you are doing, and from what are the other greats have done before us. What the reason Starbucks has been successful, the reason Panera has been successful, and all these other companies, and say let's bring that here, because while we sit here in tech with like we can fundraise differently, our margins are better. Restaurants don't have that privilege, but look at what they have built. This is the second largest workforce in the
Yep.
country, and, and this is 50% of all Americans' first job, you know and this is a massive group of people, and they do it with nickels and dimes, and we need to go ahead and learn from them and bring hospitality instead of being what tech companies are, which is entitled. Like, we are in tech, so we can be so entitled,
Yeah.
especially when we're VC backed, and we sometimes, like, hey, talk to our support team, and like, don't jump on a call. Sometimes the customers just want to jump on a call and know that you are sorry,
Mhm.
and you'll fix it when you'll fix it, but you're sorry. So those are some of the things we're trying to teach our team here, and it's been incredible to build that culture together. We just rewrote our culture 2 weeks ago during our offsite, and our leadership team, we put like, hey, here are the authors, and we wrote down all our leaders' name, because I didn't write it alone. We did it together. So having so many people on our team who are restaurant people, who are failed restaurant owners, successful restaurant owners, first job was a restaurateur, has been amazing to build that culture together.
And again, the one thing that I love that I get the privilege to do. Not only are we friends outside of the podcast, but and so I get to see it. But you do, and your team actually does a fantastic job of building in public, so we get to see it, and even the failures. I mean, I know you're pretty big about even talking about those things, because at the end of the day, we're all going to fail. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do the wrong things. I'm gonna change gears a little bit. You talked about how big the industry is, how second mover advantage in a lot of cases, and at the same time, there's a lot of people that interact with off premise differently. There's some that do
Mhm.
catering. There's some that do third party
Yeah.
delivery. There's some that do first party delivery. There's some that want an app. There's some that want just a mobile web. And
Mhm.
talk to me a little bit about how you guys try and tackle those things, because again, more and more brands, and you guys hit the timing really well, because you're in the middle of the pandemic, and not that anybody wants the
Mhm.
pandemic to happen, but for a brand like yours, and a company like what you guys have built, it's been a huge growth engine for all off-prem. I know I was talking with a
Yeah.
recent client of ours, and he said before the pandemic they were at 8-9% off-prem. Now they're
Mhm.
close to
Mhm.
40% off-prem.
That's
So it
amazing.
creates
Yeah.
a second level of issues, and
Yeah.
tech has to work with the ways that they want it to work. So talk to me a little bit about how you
Yeah.
guys think about that.
Yeah. Listen, we would not be here, and this is terrible to say, but I'll say it out loud, which is, we would not be here if it wasn't for the pandemic. We started a few months right before the pandemic, and the pandemic was awful in every way possible. But what it has done for us is, it it put a spotlight on us that maybe that was shined brighter than any other time.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, I think the pandemic did not change the restaurant industry. It sped it up.
Mm-hmm.
It sped up the behavior that maybe would have taken 15 years or 10 years. And it said, okay, we're going to do that very quickly. And these tech companies, you have to figure out how to go ahead and be a good partner to restaurants right now, because they now need you more than ever.
Yep.
So get good, enough mediocrity for off premise. And so those are the two things that happen. That's the way we see our history, or we have rewritten our history to say we would not be here if it wasn't for the lift pandemic has given, or the light it has shined on off premise. And now more than ever, it's our responsibility for off premise company to just do more than, do you have a mobile app? Do you have catering? Do you have these like table stake tools? Like, you can get it from so many different companies. I think what matters is, this is exactly like your technology. What can it do for enterprise operators and operators in general?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you guys do such incredible work. What is the off-premise version of that? The off-premise version of that is, how well do we integrate with a CBS North Star?
Yep.
The off-premise version of that is, can we go ahead and have most of it under one roof and not five companies? And whenever something breaks, they point at each other, because we love doing that. We love, like, okay, it wasn't us, it was Grubhub, and it wasn't Grubhub, it was Lunchbox. And so we're trying to go ahead and do that and build a ecosystem where we can iterate quickly, right? What do I mean by that? For example, one of the things we just launched was our menu will fluctuate and move around based on the weather. Based on the weather, the soup either goes on top, or it goes to the bottom and a dessert pops up on top, and other things. And that is something that historically the McDonald's of the world with dynamic yields have done. Why should that be so expensive? Let's bring that to all the restaurants around the country and give them the same opportunity to go ahead and not just do discounts, but show customers what they want to see when they want to see it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something else we do similar, and I'll stop here, which is we know if you stop coming in for lunch, and we know if you usually used to come in on Tuesdays. So next week on Tuesday, let me ping you at 10 with a great offer when I know you have appetite, pun intended,
Uh-huh.
to go ahead and have this meal, so I can go ahead and win you back instead of just sending you blind discount on days you're not at the office. So those are the kind of things we're trying to do, and those are the ways we're trying to be a second mover.
I love that forethought that you guys put into it. And again, it really goes back to how do we make it better for the restaurateur? And you guys always, every time you guys put out messaging, every time you guys put out, the product, it's always, how do I make it easy for that restaurant that may not be at 1,000 stores to be able to afford these things? There's also the flip side of that, which is the consumerization of tech.
Yeah,
Apple, Amazon, Google have done a fantastic job of setting our expectation that says I can order food and have it be Amazon easy, Apple easy. I order it, and within 15 minutes, I've got product on its way, and I'm getting these. Again, 5 years ago, that wasn't the expectation. 5 years ago, 30% of the places that I went to didn't even have an online presence, where you could order food. Now everybody's got to have it. And so the consumer behaviors also have changed, and the expectations have
yeah,
changed. Not just of what product they can get, but how quickly they can get it and how easily they can get it. Talk to me a little bit about how you guys think about that from a product roadmap and an engagement with your team and with your customers, because you've got two customers you're serving. You're serving the restaurant,
yeah,
but you're ultimately are serving the front end. In my business, I'm only
yes,
serving the people that are standing at the cashier or standing, until we get out to a web facing, kiosk facing. For the most part, we're
yeah,
dealing with just the staff
yeah.
member.
Mm.
As you guys are starting to have to deal with the general public, you guys have to think about it differently. So talk to me a little bit about how you guys deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, not only are we building things that they look at and click and play with and are happy with or disappointed with, but we're also taking support calls and support tickets from the end user, not just so we're a B2B B2B2C company,
Mm-hmm.
and we're taking so our managers are messaging us, and their customers who did not receive that special sauce they're also upset, right? So it's awesome and challenging, and what we really have to do is figure out who are the three different types of end user we're serving, because
Yep.
there's three types. Type one is people who are dine-in customers. They don't order delivery from this place. Type two is someone who does delivery from this place and they do dine-in. And type three is I've never walked into this restaurant, I never will, I will only order delivery, right? So those are three different people. That third group is one that's like, okay, I will not use Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats and use your first party ordering, but you really, like, I have to either love your product and rep your product, I'd buy your t-shirt,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you're going to really make it exciting for me to use your app. It cannot be the same. If it's the same, I'd rather use Uber Eats app. It's a fantastic app. It's well designed. My card works, and it's the everything store. I
Yep.
get to eat from everywhere, every night, whenever I want. So we really have to go ahead and make the first party app and web really dynamic. We make it dynamic in terms of the menu, weather-based menu, which I just mentioned. We make it dynamic in terms of pricing. The pricing will move and shift based on what day of the week it is. We make it easy to log in, just as easy as those apps like Google Sign in, Apple Sign in, Google Pay, Apple Pay. We're trying to not only match, but then we have to go beat it.
Yeah.
How do you go beat it? If you look at some of our restaurants, some of our apps, Island Fin Poke, when you download the app, you can see how busy the restaurant is. There's a camera of
Oh
the
wow.
store. I mean, that's a good reason
Mm-hmm.
to say I'm walking in here or I'm not. I'm going to do a pickup or not. We have like our Clean Juice app for this 150 unit chain. They have a subscription program where I will get a massive discount if I become a subscription user, just like you become a subscription user for any app.
Hmm.
And I'll give you guys $40 a month. And whenever I walk in, I get a juice. Walk in, walk out is much cheaper, much more affordable. So these are the things we're doing to make it exciting for the super users to say, I will download your app. But it's not for everyone. We're never going to convert all third-party customers. But our job is to constantly cultivate and move people to the super users, just like some dine-in users are going to be regulars that we should buy a beer once in a while. We're just trying to fix that delta of that dine-in hospitality to if someone was ordering from the living room.
Well, and I think that's a huge, very very poignant message for our listeners is the experience has to be better. It has to be better than going to those third parties. And I think that all too often people are like, no, 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 I want everybody on first party. It's like that's great. Then make the experience better. Don't just say come to my app. Because if it's harder, I'm going to go back to Uber Eats. I'm going to go back to DoorDash. I'm going to go back to
Yeah.
whatever that other app is. And so, one of the other distinct advantages that I know you guys have is the ability to take those third party delivery orders and integrate them back to the POS and
Yeah.
manage that. That is a big piece. I mean, just dining out with my family, we often go out to places and I see what we call tablet help. Talk to me a little bit about
Yeah.
why that was something that you guys felt you needed to do to round out that ecosystem, because you can't compete with Uber Eats and DoorDash. I mean, maybe you can raise enough money to compete with those guys, but I doubt it.
We're not
So
going to be able to.
you're not going to compete with those guys. So it's like, you know what? At least give people the first party option and give people the third party option if that's what the brand wants. So talk to me a little bit about how and why you
Yeah.
guys took that approach as well.
I lacked a lot of when my first 3 years of running this company, I lacked a lot of maturity, and I thought it was us versus them. Uh, and small part of me still feels that way. It's a good feeling to have to rally your troops and your team against a Goliath. And while that is exciting, does that really benefit the restaurateur or
Yeah.
does that just benefit Lunchbox? And I think in that I had to grow up and listen to our leaders. And we said we're going to go out there and buy a company, and instead of building it because it would be really hard, really expensive, really complicated. It's one of the hardest products to implement and build. And we bought, our mutual friend Novadine's company, George's company, and that is how we entered that space. But the reason we did it was because I had to grow up. I had to grow up and realize that it doesn't matter what our biases are. We need to go ahead and look at what the restaurant operator wants.
Hmm.
This is their company. We run it, but this is their company. And if we treat it like their company and do for them what they want, and not try to shove something down their throat that is not profitable to their P&L and bottom line, we're going to succeed. So there was some growing up needed on my part, and that happened very publicly. That happened very slowly. I wish it would happen sooner, and so that's why we made that investment. And the reason we want to make investment is because we want to send as many dollars as we can to our operators, and we want to convert as much of it as we can to first party. But it's a funnel.
Hmm.
It's a funnel, and we want to fill the top of the funnel with as much as possible, knowing we can only convert 20% to super users, and that's the win for everyone, including Lunchbox. So we need to coexist.
I love that humility and thank you for sharing that, because I do think that that's something that a lot of people, I mean, in the beginning think that, oh, I can do it all. And at the end of the day, some consumers, I've got a Dash Pass. My Chase rewards card gives me a Dash Pass. And so if it's
Yeah,
cheaper to go on my Dash Pass and get the food delivered than it is for me to go first party, then I'm going to do that. And I am a restaurant guy
yeah,
and I love restaurants and I want to make sure that they get taken care of. And at the same time, there are times that it's more efficient for me to go on DoorDash because it's just more efficient where they've got some feature or some function that they can do. The other piece that I think is always the part that people underestimate is the legacy tech that's in the space. Most of those brands that are 30 to 500 units have technology that may be 10, 15, 20, 30 years old, and integrating to it's not always as easy. And as you said earlier, you get the finger pointing back and forth saying it's not my fault, it's their fault, it's not your fault. Talk to me a little bit about how you guys think about that and how ultimately at the end of the day your desire to have a hospitable restaurant tech company that's solving restaurant problems goes into that, because at the end of the day culturally I see
yeah,
you guys have to deal with that because you're not going to change your POS
yeah,
potentially. um
yeah, yeah,
so talk to me a
yeah.
little bit about that.
I mean, first you have to look at it and be humble yourself, which is we're the second most important tech in the restaurant. The first most is POS. And it's the most expensive. It's the most necessity. It's where the most dollar is going through. It is the most expensive. If I'm not mentioned that, it's the hardest to implement,
Hmm.
right? So when you start there and you say, okay, all right, if POSs are like countries, we are a universal connector. We don't want the country to change their voltage systems. It's 110 or 200 or wherever they are. I don't know the numbers. I don't want to make a fool of myself. But we have to be a universal adapter, a universal connector. We need to work for whatever the device is, whatever the voltage is. And so that's how we live. And that's a different pressure than POS have. Because POS have so much pressure of their own. And you know this
Oh,
more than
very much
anyone
so.
else. It's much harder than anything we're doing. We need to take this one on for restaurateurs. This is the one we need to take on, which is when POSs are making changes, we need to upgrade our system, refine our system so we can keep up.
Hmm.
When POSs are outdated, we need to go ahead and create technology that can upgrade it and still deliver that same app and same website or same catering system that anyone has with a cloud-based system if it's not, right? So we need to pivot. We need to, be chameleonaires, and we need to just accept the fact that we're going to need amazing product people who are experts in Aloha, experts in CBS, experts in Not Toast, and more than anything else, we need to have a wonderful relationship with these POS companies
Yep.
because we need their help. Like we call you so often on like, hey, can you help us here? Can you help us there? As we're trying to solve the problem for the end operator, we need to have a wonderful relationship with Julian, so we can call him when we are, because sometimes because we're coming in on top. We sometimes need the expertise you guys have to say, can you tell us how you solve this problem so we can emulate it or mirror it? And I think that's how we see our role when we see POS companies.
Yeah, no, and I think it's critical to for operators that are out there listening to understand the marriage between these two things, because if there's not a marriage, ultimately you're the one that suffers because they're going to start pointing fingers back
Yeah.
at each other. The other thing that I would say that people need to consider, and I think we've done a good job with our two organizations, is the content management system between the two talk. So I'm not having to make
Mhm.
changes in the point of sale, then make changes on my online ordering, then make changes in my third party delivery. They're seamlessly talking to each other. So when you out of stock something,
Yeah.
when you put something on sale, when you change a price,
Yeah.
it goes through. And I know that's not always the case, and I'm not looking to bag on anybody else, but it does make the life of the operator better. And so,
Yeah. I mean, ours is the best we have, one of the, if not one of the best, which is just do things on your POS on the CBS North Star, and it will happen everywhere else,
yep,
right? And that is ideal state that is hard to achieve everywhere, but I'm glad we have it.
yeah, no, and thank you for the partnership there. The last piece I want to talk about is a little bit about the future. AI, machine learning, generative AI has changed our lives, many in many places for the better. Where do you see that impacting off-premise ordering? Where do you see that? You talk a
Yeah.
little bit about dynamic pricing, and I think that's probably a portion of it. But I'd love
Hmm.
to say, how do you guys look at that, and how the interaction with a food service place is going to change? Is it going to be voice? Is it going to be
Yeah.
pictures? Is it going to, talk to me a little bit about where you guys think things are going to be at in the next 3 to 5 years, and how you're going to have to continue to evolve the product?
Yeah. The tool we are focused on right now, and I'm going to send you videos if you want to add it.
I would love to.
And for the people who can't see it, I can explain it. Is we're calling it the Lunchbox AI. What we've done is we've added OpenAI to our system and let OpenAI ingest all our data, and we've built models on top of it. And so what you have is a chat bot on our admin panel, and you can say things like this. You can say, who are my top performing locations, or what are my top performing locations and why, and get different theses from our AI tool. It will say this menu, what happened at this location was, for once, really it was weather. It was 5 degrees lower than usual, and that's what's happening here. There's nothing else here. Here, the sales are low, and we don't understand why it is, but we've noticed a spike in this item not selling. Usually, this item sells 20% more, right? So you can now get complex data that operators and especially franchisees, are not able to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Franchisees are busy. They're busy running a business. Running a restaurant is, I've heard this from a franchisee, which is, I'm a parent to, I'm a mom and dad to 40 people
Mm-hmm.
in our company, in our restaurants, and I have to know if they're upset, if they're not coming in. I have to keep attendance. I'm a teacher. It's so hard to keep a restaurant working, and that's only like 3% of it. I don't have time to go and analyze all our data from all the different systems we use. We use so many. We have third party, we have first party, we have POS, and go ahead and tell a clear story,
Yep.
right? And so we are trying to make those stories clear, and we're basically building a tool for operators. It's not going to be for the front end user. We think that's voice. We're not doing that. This amazing company is doing that well. We think we really need to go ahead and look at AI from what do operators need. And what operators need is to ingest all of this data, it's just sitting on Goldmine,
Hmm.
and hear simple stories. What are my top three selling items? What are the things on my menus I should cut and why?
Yes.
Take all my menu items and build me something for Father's Day. Do not add any new items. Price it. Those are the things we can do now, and I'd love to demo it to you directly as well. And we're just really excited by that. We don't think it's as sexy as a consumer tool, but we don't need sexy right now. We need to build more and more tools for our current operators to make more money within their small real estate that they have and make it more efficient.
I love that because you and I both talk to operators all the time where they have ideas and they have theories and they have premise that something's going to happen, but they can't get there. And building a tool like that where they can say, give me my top five selling items, give me my bottom five selling items. I don't have to go run 12 different reports. They can type this in, or even voice text it into your AI and allow it that opportunity to help them make better business decisions, which ultimately goes back to your premise that says we're going to build tech for restaurant operators to make their lives better and easier.
Yeah.
What else did we miss? What other things should we have talked about other than you're a fantastic human
Well,
that's very active on LinkedIn, and everybody should connect with you after the show?
Uh, well, I mean, listen, you and I talk a lot about health, right? We talk a lot about health and the importance of leaders taking care of themselves, putting oxygen mask on themselves before helping the person next to
Yes,
them.
very much so.
And I'm very inspired by the stuff you're doing. I'm trying to run a marathon. I know you've already done that. So, I mean, we talk about health a lot.
Yeah, no, we definitely do talk about health, and I think that's one of those things that I know you and I have rapped quite a bit about it. And if you haven't read, Outlive by Peter T, I in the last year, I don't know that there's a book that I've recommended more than that book. My
Yeah.
chiropractor's all over it. He and his wife both are reading it. My dad's reading it. He's like, I need the Cliff Notes version of it because I can't read whatever it is, 800 pages. I don't have you.
I have a YouTube video
Uh-huh.
version of it
Okay.
that is basically a podcast where he basically did a great summary. So, I mean, there's so many versions of it.
Yes, no, and
Yeah.
my wife's like, all right, you're bringing back that book again. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I had somebody say to me at lunch the other day, I was traveling for business, and they said, has it actually changed your behavior? I said, absolutely. So
100%.
absolutely, it has. So I went
Yeah.
with the Apple Watch Ultra recently to start to
I
track
love it.
more track.
Oh, I'm a Garmin kid.
Yeah, no, and I was listening to our buddy Shervin on YouTube, and I ultimately went because I'm an Apple guy in the Apple ecosystem. I ended up doing the Apple Watch Ultra about a month ago,
Great
and
watch.
even that, for that matter, it's changed my behavior, exercise, and again, I would encourage all of our listeners to think about that because you're no good to your staff if you are not healthy. And there's
Yeah.
both physical health and there's emotional health and spiritual health. Like all of those things are very important because, as Nabil said, you're out there serving your community, which is
Mhm.
oftentimes your team members. And so, if you're operating a restaurant, if you're running a department, you oftentimes are the biggest influence in these people's lives that you get to impact, and you've got to be
Yeah.
healthy in order to be able to give to those people.
Yeah. I mean, I just did a call with my doctor today. I have a functional medicine doctor
Okay.
instead of a regular doctor. So, a functional medicine doctor's job is not to fix something when it's broken. Their job is to make sure things don't break
Mm-hmm.
and help you outlive, right? And so he told me, listen, you have a bacteria in your gut called H. pylori, right? You have a bacteria. This 70% of the population have it, and it's not a big deal. I can get rid of it in 2 weeks. And this is what happens when I get rid of it. When I get rid of it, you will ingest. You're eating chicken now. You're only ingesting, let's say, half of it. You're gonna ingest, and your body will consume more of it. So you'll just get much more nutrition. You'll sleep better. Your cortisol level will be better. Cortisol is what you and I, whenever you and I get stressed, cortisol goes up.
Yep.
So basically, you can get more stressed and not feel it less. Why would we not want that? Why would we not want that for our family, our coworkers, our employees? Like, why would we not want to make that investment? In 2 weeks, we can fix it. Like, it's crazy to me. So a lot of this is easy. It sounds complicated, but I think Peter Attia and all his awesome YouTube videos and
Yep.
Shervin Pervez on YouTube and others have made it super simple to biohack and experiment.
Yeah, no, and my wife let me on that one of my Christmas gifts will end up being a DEXA scan. She's trying to find a place that I can do the once a month DEXA scan and get my body scan.
I love it.
So
I love it.
we're on that journey together. How do people get in touch with you? Get in touch with your team? How do they learn more about what you guys are doing over at Lunchbox?
Yeah.
I know there's lots of different ways, but why don't you tell everybody how should they get in touch with you?
I mean, in honor of hospitality, just contact me, Nabil at lunchbox.io, or text me, 646-867-5395. You can send memes. Please send memes. If not, lunchbox.io itself. Go to our website, and there's a video game at the bottom. Go play it, but contact us, or just contact me, and I'll connect you with the right people, or jump on a call.
Awesome, awesome, and I know that 2024 is coming up right around the corner, and I know you guys can be out at quite a few trade shows, and so if you guys see them at the trade show, they always have a fantastic group of people. He's built a fantastic team of humans that are really willing to help, and I don't just say that. I live it, and I deal with this team every on a weekly basis, and so I don't say these things just in order to blow smoke up his backside. I really genuinely believe that he's built a great team that's willing to help and wanting to jump in. So. Um, to our listeners, guys, we know that you guys have got lots of choices on how you guys spend your time and energy. If you guys haven't already done so, please go subscribe to the podcast, whether that's on your favorite podcast player. If you're an audio guy, if you do want to watch us on video, we just launched the YouTube page recently, Restaurant Technology Guys on YouTube. You can check it out. Last thing I would ask is if you haven't already subscribed to the newsletter, once a month we send out a newsletter with all of the episodes, all of the blog posts that you can get. And once a month, go read through it and figure out what you want to listen to and click on it. Nabeel, thank you so much for your time, and to our listeners, make it a great day.
Thank you, Jeremy.